It's extremely painful. I mean, the separation from freedom and your life, I mean, what do you think? Of course it's painful. If I thought I had cheated people and taken their money and willfully tried to hurt them, I would be so ashamed of myself who I am. I would have suffered a lot more. It would have really mattered. It's the biggest lesson of my life. There's no lesson that ever taught me anything like that. I wouldn't wish it on anybody.
As humans, there's a natural instinct to want to find something bad out about someone.
When someone comes to me and they say, do you know that he was in jail? I'll tell them I know a lot of people who's been in jail.
Anytime it ever comes up on, with a potential new guest to CEO Space, it's like, let me just get you on the phone with them. He'll bring it up. You don't even have to bring it up.
Berny Dohrmann's somebody who's taken a mistake from the past that he's made and he's used it as a lesson.
He's lived and been through what can happen. Anyone that thinks that can't happen to them, you're foolish. You're very foolish.
I feel like you all should now break into the choir song.
Google's good for us.
Can't judge somebody by a website or anything like that.
They'll go Google something and they'll find something. It'll come up on page 10 or something like that, and it's like, aha, look what I found on this guy.
I say go to the site and balance what you see when you Google the name. And you got to understand today, there's Google everywhere. I'm sure I've got stuff, you've got stuff. Try Googling yourself sometime and see what you've got.
He never tried to hide his past, but he never wanted to embarrass anyone that was involved with him because of his past. It was something that happened, but I also think it's something that's made him the person he is today.
I actually feel sorry for the person that goes online and said, do you know who you're dealing with? When they come to me, I give them an earful. And I try to put them on the right track.
There isn't anything that involves CEO Space that's bad at all. There's never been an investigation, there's never been a litigation, there's never been anything. I mean, it's a completely complaint-free, litigation-free zone. We just don't have unhappy people. We don't have any unresolved complaints of any kind. The head of Nokia of Europe, the head of Memorex, I mean, people like that don't endorse a scam or something. I mean, we're in our third decade. You think they would have found us out?
We're going to make a little history this morning, so you're going to have a historic moment in Class 910.
Here's this guy that's your dad, and he's famous all over the world. He's got these huge companies he's operating, and he's been to jail twice. The courtroom is about an act of who's putting on the best performance.
Bob Proctor and I were talking about how no matter how we feel, we shouldn't talk about, because it's so natural to do it, a third party in a way that would take magnificence away.
They indicted me for this small junk bond offering for a matter of not what I knew, or that the offering is perfectly legal, and they made that very clear to everybody. They indicted me for what I should have known, what I didn't know but should have known. I truly was making an effort, as high an effort as I knew how, to not violate any law. Was strip searched and cavity searched, and there's a guy in a ponytail with his teeth kind of knocked out, who is, very lean and muscular, with tattoos all over him, and very hard-looking guy leaning down on his bed, and he starts getting up when I come in with the guards, and he's going, "Man, Doc's going to be pissed. Doc's going to be so mad," and I'm thinking, I think you're the worst I'm ever going to have to be with. I got to live with you, and Doc's coming. And then Doc comes, and Doc is like 6'8", and his legs, his arms look like my legs, and just chiseled like you see in a movie. And he was real nice. He goes, "Well, welcome to my world." But I was lucky because Doc didn't want anything and never took anything from me on any basis. You're terrified the whole time you're there. If you can survive in prison, nothing else matters.
I know enough about it that it wasn't one of those egregious things where it was a ripoff, it was a disclosure issue. You've paid your price, you've been rehabilitated, and you're teaching a class now where you're teaching entrepreneurs over compliance. Hello?
I use it as a lesson. I teach all our people, and we don't have any problem in CEO space, of over-compliance. It's a standard that attorneys and I have put together from my case, where your appearance is as important as your legal compliance.
He actually even recommends things that are, wow, Bernie, I wouldn't have him do that. That's too much, Bernie, but he's insistent on it.
Even humor and jokes that you make can be misconstrued years later. So I don't want you to comply with the law when you're going through our programs. I want you to over-comply.
You never take money from anyone without an investor questionnaire and a subscription agreement where you say, look, you understand this is a startup company. Stuff happens. It's higher risk. This is not a publicly traded company.
That's why thousands and thousands and thousands of people have not had trouble here.
You make them put it in writing. Bernie adds, and by the way, when you're at your closing, let's put it on videotape. Let's have it on audio tape.
We make them go to a higher level, a higher bar.
Ask them if you can record it. And of course, if they say, no, you can't, you know, you might not want to take their money.
After you've paid your price and you're decades later and you're doing a great job, people treat you like you should be executed or something. I always think, what do you want me to do? Go pump gas? What would give you the satisfaction? It's hard on me because it was such a small matter that we didn't take it, you know, we just didn't have any thought that even if we lose, there's no jail time, there's no consequence. But they had another plan in mind, and I wouldn't change my life. I mean, I'm proud of my life. I'm proud of what I've done. I don't think I've ever acted in a way that would shame my father.
I remember even a few weeks ago, I just went over to his house at 10 o'clock at night just to have a cigar and hang out and talk. And so those are some of the best times we have.
My first cigar was with my father, and I guess it was a kind of bonding experience.
What would you and your dad talk about when you were smoking cigars?
My dad was the greatest dad there ever was. I'm not half the dad to him that my dad was to me, so I wish I could be. He would say, come over here and let me tell you a story. No one will believe this. I mean, I don't want you to believe this necessarily. I mean, you'd have to have been in the room, but he died in my arms. I was holding him. He died on a hospital bed in his own home in Marin County with that noise. Whoosh, whoosh. And he had a bunch of candles for his age, which I can't remember now, he was 60-something. His breathing finally stops, and he stops breathing. Now when he stops, there's this tremendous feeling of loss. I can't explain it, but it's like he rose out and he was gone, and you just feel this, your dad's gone. What's there is not your dad. All those 60 candles went out. Only my brother Mark, who's the middle brother, myself, walked down with the body bag and the ambulance drivers. And they took this body bag and put it in the back of the ambulance. And the two doors went chunk, chunk with the full moon and the stars out in Marin County, seeing the Golden Gate and the bridge and all of the bay. And the ambulance lights and stuff start to go down the street. My brother puts his arms around me and he goes, B, that's not Dad. And we walk back in crying. That's how my dad passed from the world. That was a night. I remember that night.
The man behind the curtain.
Okay, super teaching. Welcome to your first day of super teaching. We're glad you're here.
The man behind the curtain has got a great sense of humor and is really a lot of fun to hang out with.
See if you can do that.
To see this other side of him, the more playful side, my friend, my husband, my confidant, everybody's confidant, a dad to a lot of people. Not a lot of people get to see that side of Bernie.
You need to find your inner child.
Compare B with Bernie.
Oh my gosh, it's like night and day. It's like night and day. I'll never forget the day that I met B. Come here, B. We were hanging out together, and he was so playful and like a kid. He was like a little kid in a man's body, and it was funny. And I said, "Who is this? Who is this?" I said, "This is B." And so that's when I discovered who B was. I don't think he'll ever retire, and that's okay. As long as he gives me some time in that, I would love to support him in that.
Every one of us are teachable
But we've talked about, would you ever stop?
at the top of this industry, and Bob is our teacher.
He will always, always coach people on their business, always. That's who he is. He wants to give back that way. It's hard at times. It's hard because I want my best friend. But then he always has a way of reminding me why he's doing what he's doing. I have to change the world. It's this thing that he tells me all the time. I have to change the world.
Ladies and gentlemen, Bob Proctor is in the building.
I think most people say, that he's probably the biggest giver that they've ever met.
He's genuine. He's caring.
Bernie's not a kind of guy. Bernie is many different kinds of guys. There's the ability to be completely businesslike and professional when you need to be, and then there's the real person who just likes to have fun, who's got a great sense of humor.
There's this intimidation that people feel, and I don't want people to feel that way, and neither does Bernie.
Thank you. I thought we were going to get it later, but thank you. Thank you so much. My buddy Bob.
When I had open heart surgery, it was very serious. They took the aortic valve out and replaced it. A friend is there when you need them. They're not just hanging around. They're busy doing what they're doing, but when push comes to shove, they're there. And that was when I really needed some friends. He was there, Jane Wilhite was there, and my own family was there, because it was touch and go. They didn't know whether I was going to live or not. And it's nice to know that your friends are around you when you're going through that kind of stuff.
I want people to see the realness of this man. He's not just this robot. He's still human. He's still a dad. He's a husband. He's my best friend.
CEO Space changes a lot of people's lives.
He has probably helped more people than almost anybody I know through CEO Space.
If a person was on the edge, what I would say to them is Bernie is one person. And if they choose to let that one thing hold them back from their future, there's really not anything I can say to them. They have to make that decision. But CEO Space would be the decision they're looking at, and that's so many people.
From my point of view, my endorsement comes from being here for 10 years, being an instructor for 10 years, seeing what we do for the people here, seeing how grateful they are.
Coming to CEO Space is not just about seeing Berny Dohrmann. This forum, the CEO Space Forum, is so much bigger than the man. To say, well, I'm not going to go to class because I heard something bad about Bernie, it makes no sense, because again, class is not about Bernie. The forum's not about Bernie. The forum's about what Bernie has created here.
I think you give people a sense of understanding, and you make them feel comfortable in their own skin.
Are they going to be listening to these tapes at universities or something when I'm gone? And this is going to be like, you got to listen to these. Is it going to be? Is this important?
Yes,
It is important. What I think.
absolutely.
Yeah.